The Tasmanian state election was not months ago, but it was a good few weeks ago, and we still don't know who the government is. So let's run through all the possibilities. So I'll start in Braddon here, which is Premier Jeremy Rockliff's seat. So Liberals won 4, Labor 2, and then Craig Garland won the last one. In Bass, Labor won 2, Liberals won 3, 1 Green, and then we still don't know the result of the last one. Lyons, Liberals 3, Labor 2, 1 Green, and 1 Shooters, Fishers and Farmers. And then in Franklin, 2 Independents, Green, 2 Labor, and then 2 Liberals. In Clark, we have 2 Liberals, 2 Labor, 2 Green, and 1 Independent. So who forms government? Well, we don't know, and that's the short answer. At this stage, you might think that the Liberals have an easier path, but that's not necessarily true. If we look at it, Craig Garland, the Independent in Braddon, he won't work with the Liberals. So that means that they're going to have to work with every other remaining Independent or the Greens. Now, I highly doubt that the Liberals will work with the Greens. I consider it essentially impossible. So rule that out, it's not going to happen. But the other Independents, are they likely to work? In Franklin, we have David O'Byrne, a former Labor leader, and Peter George, who is a true Independent in a lot of sense. Now you might think that because David O'Byrne, he was a former Labor leader, he's going to side with Labor, and then he's going to get Labor 3. Not necessarily, because he worked with the Liberals in the last Parliament, but the question is, will you do it again? Now the other Independent, Peter George, I don't know for sure, but if I had to guess, I'd probably class him as kind of greenish. So my guess would be that he'd be more willing to work with Labor, but that is just a guess. I'm not Tasmanian, I'm Canberran. I don't know this guy. Now in Lyons, we have the Shooters, Fishers and Farmers. My guess is that they will probably work with the coalition, so that gets them to 4 there. In Bass, okay, there wasn't an Independent in Bass. In Clark, the Independent is Kirsty Johnson. I don't know a lot about her, so I really don't know. But I similarly get the vibes that she'd probably rather work with Labor. Well, I'll also edit that, so I'll just say Craig Garland will work with Labor, because that just makes things a lot simpler. Now, I'll also, so Liberals are going to need to work with every Independent here. I'll put it as David O'Byrne working with Liberals, but he has also indicated that he'd work with Labor. So at the same time, I don't know, it's just a mess. As I've said, I feel like Kirsty Johnson would rather work with Labor, so I'll put her as Labor, and I'll also do this in all the seats. I'll put the Greens as working with Labor. So, okay. So in that we get Labor to 17. So that puts them right at the foothills of forming government. But there's one problem. You need 18 for a government. And that's where someone like Peter George or David O'Byrne comes into play. Now, as I've previously mentioned, David O'Byrne, former Labor leader, has worked with the Liberals. So we have no idea where he's going to go. And Peter George, I don't know the guy very well. So there are very much 2 distinct possibilities for who forms government. And I consider it very unusual that the election was 2 weeks ago and we still have absolutely no idea, and it is still anyone's game. It's also worth noting to bring up that Dean Winter, the Labor leader, has explicitly said he will not work with the Greens, or at least he will not do a deal with the Greens. So But if he wants to get into government, he kind of has to. So I would think, so in conclusion, I would guess that I feel like Labour will form government, but that is just a guess. But he will have to, Dean Winter and the rest of Labour are going to have to work with the Greens, and it will not end well. Anyway, that is my prediction for who will form government. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed that. I'll have more videos like this coming soon. Thank you.